Doing the intro for Frosty.
Uh, y-
Right. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? I am Sino. This is my first cast for the ESA. It's a pleasure to be here. I am joined by two of my co-casters. We have Frosty the Snowman in the corner over here, and we do have my good friend, Mr. Puffo Bob, over here. How are you doing this fine day, sir?
well, I'm good. If it's a fine day and if it's ESA, it possibly can't go wrong. Now, this is season 9. It's going to be the Swiss second round we're heading into. It's going to be QuQ facing off against Entropy. Now, Entropy is a well known name across the entirety of Siege competitive, especially these tiers with ESA Voltage, you name it. But in the midst of all that chaos, QuQ, they're bringing in a bit of mystery. Personally, I don't have much experience with them, so I'm really excited to see them in the match. But before we step ahead of ourselves, yet again, welcome Frosty, welcome Sino, which is going to be lovely for his cast. We're going to make it the best you'll ever see. And in the meanwhile, let's take a look at the current brackets we have on our board today. And by looking at it, I mean, we can see where these players are, we can see where we're heading. And yet again, this is Swiss round number 2. All right. Now, with it, I mean, yeah, whoever wins this out goes to the bottom bracket, and then either's plays to continue, or of course wins, uh, plays to continue, or of course lose. And as brackets are still there, what about, of course, the teams we're watching today? We said it's QuQ, we said it's Entropy, both on the line, and having a bit of a look at not only these players we're going to be showcasing today, but of course both of these teams top and down. Any opinions here, Sino?
So, as you said before, Cook does have a lot of limited information. We don't see a lot from them, but we do see from Entropy. We do know what the roster is composed of. We're going to see their team captain, Afla, the Bosnian king himself. He's going to be leading his team on the charge today and hopefully to a 2-0 victory if they can land it. We're going to see two Turkish players. We're going to refer to them as the brothers. We're going to have Bechi and Ihsan, and alongside with, we're going to have the Russians, Rise, and Trixie coming in as well. I'm unsure of Shisui's origin, but his headshot percentage is above the 50% line, and we should be able to see a perfect game from them as we see the fragger, the mailbox, and the operators that are needed to bring to be able to bring those next wins and to bring your team to that next level that people want to bring to Siege.
Absolutely. So, with that ahead, what teams will we see between these two face offs? Well, of course, we have to reveal that. Come on, bring us in here. It's going to be the maps coming in slowly. We have 3, it's a best of 3. So, hoping to see all 3 in the action, we have the 3 picks. Now, starting off Chalet, a bit more basic, and then continuing on to Cafe, which is a huge map, a lot to expect, a lot of roam clear, but at the same time, even more action. And finally, finishing it up, if we even get to that decider, is going to be none other than Chalet, the map of all guns, and of course, fragmentation till the very end.
Yeah, 100%. If we do see Chalet as that decider map, we're going to see a lot of tactical realism needed to be used on that map. If we see operators like Mira getting banned, we're going to have to see these teams need to adjust to be able to hold upstairs and those mid floors without that Mira. Now, if Buck even survives that ban phase, you need to also adjust to be able to play vert from below, because if Mira survives that ban phase, it's absolutely critical to those defenders to keep those Miras up and to deny the attackers from getting past that first barrier of defense for that time being. Now, defending all of these sites can be a pain in the ass if you are not coordinated enough, but it also can be a safe haven for you if your team is coordinated and up to the challenge.
Without a doubt. Now, looking at the first map, it's Chalet. It's a standalone map. It's what brings the pillar up for Rainbow Six Siege, besides Clubhouse, which has been in the competitive scene for quite a while. And while Chalet, I think this is one of the only maps where teams can consider each and every single site to be played. We have the first floor, which is beloved by many, the top one, not so many, and the bottom one, which is a bit unusual to see, but still something that teams tend to go for in any case and scenario for a bit of diversity, if we know what we're talking about. Now, I will ask production here, are we ready to take these teams into our matches? Very soon. Any second is what we will be quoting them on. And yet again, this is going to be the first cast for me for a dual cast here for Zeno. He's been doing a bit more of solo in the hand. Well, he hasn't been solo. You always have Frosty behind him, helping out and, patting him on the shoulder. But in general, we're excited to have a blast here. And this is going to be none other than Chalet here, ladies and gentlemen. Right, going over to the operator bands, it's going to be the attackers. Now, Entropy Gaming will start us off, and I believe it's going to be the Monty where we really want to kick things off, especially because it's still the shield meta. It's soon to be a patch, but just not soon enough. Although kicking it off is going to be Brava, quite interesting, especially this being a map that is quite pivoting towards that. I'd say Melusi pick. Definitely gadgets are at an all-time high, and default cam's always lovely to see. Following a blitz is going to be Monty's little angry brother, but still leaving out that opportunity for some shield plays.
Yeah, seeing these shield ops getting banned is an absolute crucial part to Siege. We're still in that year 9 season 3 meta. Monty and Blitz are going to make you suffer. They're going to make you pay if you do not get them off the ban phase. And Monty surprisingly survives the ban phase, which is an absolute crucial pick for the first attackers. Now, he takes off that first barrier, that first line of defense for the defenders. He can break it in instantaneous amounts of time if this Monty is allowed in the building. And Azami is going to be the last defender ban, allowing to reshape the map. She is also a crucial ban to prevent operators like Monty and countless other attackers.
At the same time, while we're not going to be having the dualism of Flores and Azami in play, we had to round number one. It's going to be Kitchen and Diamonding. That's when I said and called out a bit more of that first floor favor between these teams. And Entropy, we already see some interesting picks. Now, of course, we saw the Frost being picked out, which she has been introduced on the bar gaming side of things. In the meanwhile, though, while the defenders cannot six-pick anymore, the attackers can, so let's focus on to the right. We have the Wamai, the Fenrir, and the Melusi, Legion, and Cade, which is going to be showing a lot of distraction and staggering. We have the Fenrir, you push in, you don't see anything. You either die or you back off. Same goes for the Melusi. It's a slow fight just like Legion. They have a nice little coalition between the two. Hatch play is going to be implemented, although I'm wondering if they're going to be opening up the hatches or just using up that Cade to patch them up. In the meanwhile, verticality here is key. Let's be honest. So again, from the attackers, I'm hopefully going to be seeing either Ram or Buck, because if they decide to take a horizontal battle, I'm scared to see what the outcome is going to be.
Yeah, 100%. And as we've seen from these two teams, they've been battling it out ever since early September and even extending before that. These operator picks, bringing that Therma is an absolute crucial pick for this mid floor, but it's also going to make them suffer the fact that they have not brought this Ram for verticality, as you mentioned before. And maybe we're going to see another 2-1 loss for QuQ if they don't lock in and start bringing the operators they need.
It's going to be the floors, Larry on it, trying to search out for those gadgets. This is why we love seeing the Bravo being banned. Of course, imagine how tough it might have been here for Entropy if they had to play against her. It's going to be a good opening onto Becky, who doesn't have much more gadgets to throw out. Hopefully, he used up all of those with my discs, because now he's 6 foot under and not available to be of any help anymore. Defenders, 4v5. We already have some sort of deficit here going for QuQ, as they have established some sort of dominance. Now, still looking with one Dokkaebi, looking to even extend off of this fireplace breach, get some angles going, and cut off as much rotation as possible.
Yeah, 100%. We're already seeing that first pick go down, and the Wamai didn't even have the full potential to get all of his discs down. That's going to be very critical to be allowing the attackers to be able to use the full potential of their stuns, smokes, and EMPs. The one defender to clear upstairs, which is Legion. To Afla, the captain finds one, Durns lands the second, and Trixie makes it even. It is now a 3v3 for this team. All they have to do now is open the breaches, relax, get this home going, because if you allow this Legion to continue playing with this shotgun, you attackers are going to have serious prices to pay.
Very passively on this first round. Now, while we do have QuQ bringing up the heat, it's all being cooled down by Entropy here, just slowly sitting back, relaxing, waiting to see what happened. EMP's coming out. The Cade Claw is causing quite a lot of trouble. It does seem to be impede, but yet again, we have to take in consideration that one could be placed out from below. That's going to be the Kate Claw, and that's going to be Larry. Just not allowing that equalization for be sticking much through. Shisui still looking it out for another kill. Yet again, Entropy, they lose that leverage they had, and now we're back to this 3v2. Let it be guns or nothing.
Cade has that C4 and could use it crucially to be able to deny this plant. They struggle to get that breach open, which is a massive thing for these attackers. And as I speak, Rise does land that C4 with Thermite, and he also goes 6 foot under. Double kill for the Dokkaebi. Kyron takes out Rise shortly after, and the mistiming allows Kyron to find the opening pick for QuQ.
Great way of going about it. We can definitely give credit where it's due. QuQ really made their standards be known because it was high. It was really strong. We come in fast. We come in with the aggression, completely pushing one defender from one spot to the other and punishing him for it while also holding a lot of windows. Yet again, it's that shadow presence that you really want to build as a team. You open up a lot of windows, you open up a lot of verticals, holes, you know it, and then you maybe leave them for a minute, come back to it, and possibly find a pick. Now, as Entropy couldn't have much of a response, they got that 3v3, which is good. 1-for-2 trade, they managed to just scoop out. QuQ, they upkept it, they started it, so they're gonna compete. They're gonna finish up rolling up that snowball. Round 2 now, still going to this kitchen and dining. We're giving it a second shot. And a bit of a switch here, going from that Wamai to that Jaeger. Now, mostly I believe this is because the Wamai was taken out so early that in the end, there was no use to him. He maybe, threw down 2-3 discs and then was basically as if he wasn't there anymore. So Becky, even if he does go out, the Jaeger ADSs are going to be there still to help out.
Yeah, 100% for sure. Trying this site again is going to be crucial for them. The attackers just managed to squeeze on by without bringing that ram, which could have been a disaster for them, but the defenders just made too many mistakes upstairs and losing those bodies too fast, allowing the Dokkaebi Kyron to just slowly make his way inside the building and be able to find those frags. He got a little lucky with that final kill to give them the first round, but other than that, his other 2 kills were absolutely beautiful, and we're seeing a very aggressive entry fragger who's always in the building 24/7, first man, and all he wants to do is clear these defenders and clear these defenders fast.
Still not using up that Monty. We do love seeing the power move on the Dokkaebi and Flores. Yet again, Flores has a lot more freedom with Azami gone. Can really focus on those Azami's Cades, bulletproof cameras, and deployable shields if they tend to be adapted into play. Slowly making his way downstairs is going to be Rise. We haven't seen the aggression from Entropy. They definitely haven't brought out the proactivity that we need. As QuQ, they've been really allowed to freely roam the upstairs, and that's what I'm talking about. Afla here starts on to Larry. Now, this is a better start for Entropy, and they look to equalize out the round count.
Dokkaebi just missing those crucial headshots. You need to have better recoil control or Afla's gonna punish you. He gets a triple kill. And now Entropy are looking in a much better position than they were last round. They're completely calm, cool, relaxed. Their first defense barrier, or you could call it a layer even, hasn't even been penetrated yet. And there's only a minute 25 left. Some people see that as plenty of time, but to break so many roamers, so much defender utility means wasting almost all of your time committed on just finding a pick. And that first pick is found by a beautiful one-tap. Rise is taken out slowly, but we might see the ace here as Afla's onto a quad kill. He's the captain for a reason. And will he get taken out slowly? Yes, he will. A quick but a short death as he takes 4 people out as he takes it down with the grave.
Unfortunate wonder was taken now, that ace now being completely off the board. A quick swing is going to be finishing the job, or not. Those are going to be some whiffs, and Sub here could be making his advancement to a 1v3 situation. Offering 1v1s is what allows clutches to be made, and is it going to happen? Absolutely not. Good shots out from Shisui at the very start did give him a bit of an upper hand into this HP gunfight, and with it, we have a reclaim of rounds for Entropy Gaming. We get that 1-1, and this is what we've been waiting for. In the first round, they were way too passive, backing off, and of course, giving every single point of ground over to QuQ to claim, so they were just left completely cornered, and of course had to play aggressively and also predictably, which worked against their favor. Now this time around, we had Afla going in for 1, 2, 3, and 4, almost counting up to 5, but almost isn't doing quite enough. Still amazing performance as we finally get to move side into round number 3, and even that's going to be a bit of a wonder as we go to the upstairs.
Again, you mentioned it. You said it first thing. This upstairs site is a little iffy, if you like to say. Not a lot of teams like to hold this, and not a lot of teams bring Mira up here. We're looking at a very controversial setup as she decides to reinforce both library walls that look out to the K9 double window. All you can do here is hope for the best, but she is going to be doing the classic Mira strat upstairs. Keeping these two walls closed might be a decider because you have that hatch for a quick escape if somebody does get pinched near top blue. Now, taking this upstairs site is very crucial and very risky indeed, but it could prove to be high risk, high reward, as if they decide to get a pick off of library, off of bottom main, or somewhere surrounding these Miras, then they can show that prize on what they want and keep their eyes on the prize, as Dokkaebi is going to start entering the building as she always does, first man.
Not much of density. We see the mirror windows in play. Quick action by Becky to take out that information incoming from the library windows. And we have to have the Ash on deck instantly. Yet again, that's going to be a good counter as we need to extend out from the library, take out top mezzanine, and then follow up with some breaches, maybe go off of window plays, whatever the case needs to be. We need multiple angles off to work with. Taking their chances, running across the field is going to be these defenders playing fiddle with QuQ, as right now they're still quite cornered out. They can't get themselves a nice entry, and we need to start using up those gadgets. The Ash chargers, they should be popped any second. We don't have a Cade or a Bandit to counter them out, or of course destroy the utility before it destroys Becky's windows, and still having a bit of verticality. That's going to be Apple at T5 in hand, looking to claim out a kill. Takes minor damage, but nothing major of sorts.
Doc is going to be the crucial hitman for this scenario. You need to reset that Legion. You need to reset him now. Mira sitting mid-blue could have been found, is found, as the headshot is landed onto Betchy's head, and he could have had a very trouble-wrecking position there. But he decided to wait his time, and he got punished for it. Now, Sushi goes down very, very fast, as well as Kyron finds the pick. A very fast player when it comes to entry fragging and getting those kills. Afla responds instantly for a pick of the defender's own. All they have to do is get one more to even out the leveling playing field. Now, these attackers are scrambling to find a roamer that is no longer down there. Legion is now soft roaming and has went back upstairs through the Solarium stairs. Dokkaebi does have access to the cameras, but not too much intel except for that bulletproof hit on top mezzanine and all the way bottom solar.
That's going to be the last call that Dokkaebi has to offer. But Soup, he has more. A great shot on the AK-12. A second one coming out from Chiron yet again. He's been the hot hand here for QuQ, as it's all left down to Trixie. You have those stims on deck, but there is no time nor place to use them when Larry's coming up on your 6. A good return of leverage here for QuQ to take, and with it, we have this 2-1 lead yet again. It's just slowly simmering us down to, are we going to have a 4-2 or a 3-3 half? Of course, on the defense, I would prefer for Entropy to have at least 3-3, if nothing else, going into the first, because securing out a 4-2 here for QuQ is going to be dynasty. They're going to be looking absolutely golden.
Now, we talked about using your utility and using it properly, but this Doc went down to the grave with 3 stims in the pocket. They could have been used to restim the Legion. They could have been used to restim himself. But again, in the end, it's all about positioning. And speaking of positioning, we have this bar site as one of our sites to defend one of their first picks after that upstairs hold. It was almost a catastrophe, and it fell all apart when they tried to go risky and go upstairs. They had the high risk, no reward. But coming upstairs to hold this site with the Mira, with the Jaeger, with the Frost, you have the shield to be played on top blue. You have all of the utility that are sitting between in the glass cases to deny that shield getting broken is all you need to defend this site. And hopefully this team can stay cohesive and all together so they can try to get their round to even it out, because going round and going down on rounds on defense on a map such as Chalet is an absolute pain to deal with when you switch over to attack eventually.
Entropy seeming all bark, no bite. They get that one round in, but they can't bite right afterwards. QuQ, this is a good start. We yet again switch over for site, not going for a second chance on the upstairs, and now finally having that second first floor site is going to be none other than Baron Gaming. This is where we saw that huge introduction of Frost, of course deployable shield on top library, I assume, with Frost traps underneath every window, especially on library itself. This is where library is mentioned, and at the same time played the majority, mostly because of how important the verticality here is, just like kitchen and dining, although a bit less, still very strong, and yet again, you can't allow these attackers to have ground and control as easy as they should, because then they're gonna have an easy time playing around. And flashes coming out. Jaeger ADS to counter, but in the meanwhile, speaking of the Jaeger, he's going to have to retreat quickly, doesn't want to play a risky game, and this is not a casino that you would take home with some positive money.
Taking the risk would have been absolutely big for the defender side here, but Twitch's Shockdown does try to take out the Mira. Jaeger dropping the hatch earlier in the round doesn't save his life for much longer, as he's going to go down eventually as the first pick for the defender side. They've been struggling to open up their killing sprees for the first picks. They only got one on the first round, and it's been it since then. Kyron's been an absolute fragger, and he's been punishing them for not being able to clear him properly. ADSs have been burned by all of this utility, by the stuns, the EMPs, and the Captain Tau Flames. None of them have gotten caught except for the flash is sent in, but the second pick does go to Larry to take out Rise, and now the Mute goes down with C4 in pocket, giving this ace full control to Mudroom. Now Goyo knows this, but can he punish him? There's one Volcan canister on this. He's going to walk by. They're going to completely ignore each other, but Kyron's going to get the pick instead, and Supplier's going to get it down to a 5v1. Can we see the first flawless round? Frost, Betchy avoids this, gets two. Can she find the third? Sitting in the corner, knows that all of the attackers are closing down very, very fast, and you're gonna have to fight the Kyron, the guy with one call left, and he lands a couple of shots with Larry to confirm the ending of the round.
What has gone wrong for Entropy? I mean, we had one round in, but where did it all go wrong? Well, let me tell you. Yet again, that aggression, I didn't see it. It was pick after pick. A quick retreat from the Jaeger as he's not even pushed afterwards, as he goes down and gets taken out in the first place. What's the point? At least fight back. The same goes for each and single player. Letting it down to a 1v5 situation is nowhere near ideal, and this is going to be the 3-1 secured by QuQ, which means they can only go up from here. Yet again, the stock charts are piling down here for Entropy, as they just keep on losing and losing. Not only players, not only ground, but time as well. They focus so much time and everything, preparation, you name it, chemistry, hope going into this verticals. But in the end, they just let it go. The only one playing upstairs is going to be Rise with that cross, but that clearly doesn't seem to be enough. It's illogical to leave one man to deal with 5 players, and in the end, with it, it's a dominant start here for QuQ. They can get 4-2. They can get 5-1. Whatever they end with, it's the attack. And unless Entropy are going to have a huge mood swing into that second half, I doubt anything is going to be happening for it, as in the meanwhile, following over to Cafe Dostoevsky, which is a completely different map, and was picked out by Entropy, I'm hoping to see a victory and a better result there, as Cafe, or my mistake, Chalet, is QuQ's, and they're definitely here to claim it.
I definitely agree with a bunch of things you just said right there. Speaking about the second map, Cafe, now, you do want to focus on what's ahead of you, but you also have to see what is in the present. Now, if you want to start off a BO3 like this, going down 2 rounds, especially on defense, let me pause that statement for a second, as Entropy's just getting rapidly punished. Larry takes out Alpha. Or Afla, I apologize. He takes out their captain, and guess what? All of these pieces are just crumbling apart as they keep getting punished just constantly. They're not getting any breaks, and this is the time where you need to call a timeout to relax, analyze with your team, and realize what's going on. And Trixie finally does find that kill to even out the leveling playing field. One more kill, and it is all level on the Western front. But what can you do and show us what you want to do to be able to win this round? We haven't seen any passion coming from Entropy at all. They've been struggling to get past the first barriers completely. And Kyron, just being somebody who's in the building 24/7, has been punishing them rapidly, game after game, round after round, and he has been winning 90% of those gunfights he's been engaging in.
Will QuQ be the big bad wolf knocking at Entropy's door? Or will they prevail for another kill, get that 3-3 and deny the plant? The floor drones are out. This is a great way to flush defenders out of their comfort zones, as Betchy is into exactly one. This half wall is a great way to play off. While the C4 isn't there to really go for any denial of smoke plants, in the end, it's still a great way to not peek out, but at the same time punish. As we speak of it, that's the L2A3 for Rise to make its claim through. The Frost earlier, some nice ending kills, and continuing them on to round number 2 while also destroying some gadgets. Quick retreat, and in the meanwhile, we have no entry from QuQ. They just can't seem to find themselves out, nor find a crack in the armor for Entropy.
Drop the bomb diffuser.
Not sure if I'm voting here.
Attackers have recovered their diffuser.
All right, we are having some technical difficulties, so while we sort it out, Entropy managed to somehow bring it back. Whatever just happened. We're still fixing up things in the background, so if it was complete silence, we do apologize right now. It's 3-2. Entropy, we bring it a bit closer. Finally, hopefully, crossing our fingers for that first half to be a draw. We need the proactivity to pick up yet again. We saw the previous round. I mean, the one we just watched. Did you see those swings from Rise? Did you see those guns and arms going absolutely blazing and claim a kill after kill? I believe you did. And that's why that second round was very similar to the second one we ever played, because Entropy, they brought out that aggression and that fuel that needs to be lit yet again.
It was beautiful from Rise, and I do hope you guys can hear me right now.
Yeah, we can.
But
we can.
It's been absolutely beautiful from Rise. He came back and he responded with that double swing. The Grim went down with all 5 of his trackers in the pocket. They can act very critical during the phase of trying to get that plant down and that post-plant phase. Now, dying with 5 of those in the pocket and dying with that very critical 5-5 commando as your primary gun, you got punished. And Rise is here to play, as we need to see them respond more as they are trying to now. I don't know what was said during between rounds, but it's working now. Maybe a tactical timeout can enforce this comeback, but they have closed the deficit down to just 1 round now. And if QuQ is punished this round, we could see that tiebreaker before we switch on to attack and the roles do switch.
I'm expecting to also see some tactical timeouts, hopefully in the second half. I think that's where we should expect them, unless it goes ban for ban, 1-for-1 back-to-back rounds, like we've been seeing up until now, which Entropy could prove by winning out this defensive round. We also see Rise. He's been very aggressive, definitely in the past too. And speaking of Rise, he's on that BO3, the strongest gun, I'd say, currently. That boomstick absolutely booming, just like business for Entropy as they're ready to bring it back. Ultimately, it all comes down to aggression, because QuQ don't seem to have a counter for it. Neither do Entropy. It's just a matter of time until one brings it out, and as we speak of it, it's going to be Aflaw the kill feed yet again, making his name be seen.
Iron, an absolute beauty of a fragger, but guess what? This entry is here to punish Entropy yet once again. The Warden goes down again with critical utility in the pocket. Now he's the only one that can withstand flashes. Luckily for them, they only have 2 smokes to worry about as the Warden goes down, but they're just going kill for kill on this aggression, and Kyron, being their main entry fragger, goes down early, which can be a puzzle piece that is critical and crucial for Entropy to bring it back completely. But now being all level, you need to waste time and make sure these attackers cannot get in and wedge themselves in between these defenders to get rid of that cohesion completely. Now we're going to see this Ashe sitting in Mudroom, just walking through, making the person sitting in bar in games completely unaware. There's live pings, but unsure as to what they're trying to ping, as Trixie does decide to punish the second attacker of the round, taking out the ace. Now, they're trying to go for sight, and they're trying to go for sight fast, but you haven't gotten rid of all the roamers. Alpha punishes you for 2 kills in a row. Now you're going to have more pressuring you. You're going to have one just hopping into West Main, trying to get aggressive, taking even more damage to the Vigil. And Rise makes it a 1v4. We will see the end of the round coming soon here.
Yeah, it's going to be the bringer of mad news, none other than Trixie, of course. 3-3, that's a good drop. I feel like Entropy definitely brought it back without a doubt, and speaking of which, they turn over to the attack. They had this aggressive play, which is really nicely complemented by the preferable guns on attack, so hopefully they make their work while, but QuQ, they're on the defense. This is a bit more of a cozy side. You can nicely sit back, relax, and enjoy, allowing Entropy to come right into your loving arms, and while you hug them out, it's in the end in your favor. Can you win it out? Are you going to bring it 3-3 and we see a first round or a first match of the series go into overtime? It's all for time to tell. Taking a bit of a switch over to these lineups, we have the Mute, we have the Vigil, we have, of course, the Fenrir. It's run-of-the-mill operators. We see them every single time. The Castle as well. The Dock is going to be interesting to see. We've seen a bit of usage of those stims earlier, or rather, should I say, usage of the Dock, but not as much stims. Hopefully, Manny will be up to the job to actually support his teammates, and in the meanwhile, while we're also in this shield meta, I've been seeing a huge bring out from the drone side, especially to Brava, who is banned. But if we don't have Brava, we still have Twitch and Flores. And speaking of the operators, that should be in meta is going to be Betchy with none other than the Monty, the French Mountain himself.
Very crucial pick. We saw Cook, and they didn't capitalize bringing this Monty at all. Now, Betchy's going to be the person to fly into that building if they are going to take more of a rushing approach. But from the defender side, we are going to see that Doc, and as you did mention before, these teams do look like they lack to bring and utilize the utility. Doc was dying with 2-3 stims minimum in the pocket before he went down. Now, bringing this Monty alongside with the floors and the Deimos can be the absolute perfect trio to look for clearing that utility, looking to clear anything to get into the building fast. They've already cleared a whole floor as they're just trying to enter the building and get things done. Upstairs is going to be the site, and Mute will be holding Solar himself, and nobody holding downstairs trophy room or top of West Main is going to be the absolute critical aspect that might cost these defenders the round. Entropy switching back on. They were on attack and they got 3 rounds, which could be very beneficiary. Maybe they wanted more, maybe they wanted less, but dealing damage to this Buck and dealing damage and stopping, delaying of time as Manny does find his kill. It's absolutely beautiful from the push. All they have to do is take care of this Monty, and maybe we're going to see this round sealed.
I'm questioning that C4 from Supper there. It's the only one that right now the defense has. And wasting it out off trophy stairs to deal 2 ticks of damage to the Monty, not the best. Finishing the job, as of course one was downed, is going to be there from the verticality. The shotgun coming in clutch, and in the meanwhile equalizing out the man count. Pings are coming out. That's going to be the verticality news, but it doesn't matter what Flores has to say about it. Not once, but good enough for twice. It's going to be Shisui bringing it to a 2v4. And speaking of that 1v4, it's going to be Shisui yet again. That gun is proving to be quite strong. It's left down to poor old Doc, who has absolutely no response. He has to back off of site, which is going to be allowing a beautiful planted site. Get that poke plant running because he has absolutely no answer for it. Shut out, taken advantage of, and Shisui with a quad kill into this round. Absolutely dominating.
I mean, it's just slow and slow and slow. I think those are the only words we can use because these teams, they can't find a middle ground. It's either complete aggression or just waste of time until somebody makes that step to try to walk through and run them all down. Now, we do see Entropy take up the round advantages. Now, they were struggling a little bit in the beginning, but both teams do look like they want to take this. But it's all about how you utilize your operators and their abilities. Bringing this Monty was something that QuQ struggled to do, and they are going to pay the dear price for it. Monty, very annoying to deal with, and bringing maybe Capcan to be his counter, dealing a good amount of damage if he is brought. Not looking like Betchy's going to even look in the sights of that mountain himself they call Monty, looking more for that hard breacher ace as they are going to be going upstairs yet once again, if I am not mistaken. No mirror is going to be brought. Nothing else is going to be there to deny them, but all they are going to be doing is scattering these traps, such as the goo mines from Legion and the EDDs all over the map to try to deny them from entering the building. But we're not seeing much of these operators go below and defend downstairs themselves to try to stop them from getting past the first pair of defense. You like to have more of an Oreo method when you're trying to defend. Have multiple layers of defense to annoy these attackers and waste as much of their time as possible.
Of that multiple layer defense is going to be Larry extending a good spawn peek coming out, although not as successful as wanted. Betchy taking heavy damage, still risking your thoughts. Manny there peeking out time and time again. And speaking of who, this is one of the operators I kept an eye on since the beginning of the round. It's going to be that Capcan, which is going to be quite annoying to deal with if we don't have him spotted. Booby traps and frost mats are the only thing that can actually finish the job on an operator, unless he's down to 3 HP and steps onto a goo mine. Another operator that we kept in mind that we haven't been seeing much of, maybe not even at all, is going to be Rise's Deimos. Not going out from downstairs, which is going to be contested surely because we saw the castle barricades and some utility being put there. In the end, though, once that Deimos comes out from below, that revolver, the amount of damage it deals is absolutely horrendous, and it is a horror movie to play against. In the meanwhile, making a bit of contention, taking it from all sides is going to be Entropy. Good attacking, good way to web out across around the entirety of the site to completely shell out QuQ here, as all they're left to do is nicely cuddle up in sight and just wait all the angles unfold right before them.
We are going to see most of these defenders forced back into sight, if not all of them. If I'm not mistaken, I saw the last one go up through Solarium. Now, Deimos has been caught on intel, but all they have to do is get in the building and start playing Vert. If you can get one of those Deimos tracks live, as they don't bring a mute, you cannot deny his ability at all. And as I speak, Legion has been targeted by Deimos and will start getting targeted through the Vert. Now, Legion either has to challenge the Deimos or get a teammate to help, and Warden's coming along, but he's getting damage dealt to him. What can you do? Legion, you have to move. You get taken down to 4 HP. Tyrant, 1 HP. All you have to do is get one more bullet landed onto you. But guess what? They haven't brought that dock. You guys are so eager to bring throughout the rounds. And Deimos now exactly knows where you are and pushes him back down West Main to rotate either throughout blue or main. Ash near 45s, but a very ballsy run up by Larry allows him to get 1 kill onto the Flores, using 3 of his Rotero drones, leaving 1 in his pocket before he goes down. Prone on the floor, very annoying move by Manny, but guess what? Annoying is what you need to win these types of rounds as he takes out Betchy, and now the defenders are up on a differential, making me, my words, it's 4v3, have 4 defenders in their entirety and 1 barely clinging on to life as the Legion is 4 HP. What can these attackers do to enter site, get this plant down, and punish these defenders?
Taking out that destruction off of attack, we have the floors, both Ace and the Breach out, so they did do their job to some extent. And Manny continues doing his job as he started off with a bit more COD style with those drop shots coming in, but it doesn't matter. We have Chiron swinging out onto Piano like that. It's already a good game. A nice double shot coming out from Rice, but can he make it great enough for an extra 2? He has 5 seconds on the score. You know there's an opportunity. The shotgun comes out, but the reaction from Chiron is just too great for him to handle. Around coming in for QuQ, as of course in the end we have another equalization here, Sino. It is back to 4-4.
This is what I mean. This is the time where you need to call that timeout. Things need to be said, and they need to be said not during the prep phase, but during your allocated time. And as I speak, that timeout does get called. You need to crucially analyze what is going on. What is your team doing right? What are they doing wrong? And how can you extend that differential instead of going round for round for round for round? Now, the attackers did have that advantage at once. They had 2 bodies up, but from that constant swinging, the constant aggression, they paid the price. And now we're going to see this timeout that we need them to start critically speaking on how they can take this map and how they can take the next. And this applies to both teams.
It definitely does. Up until now, I think we've been sticking to this rule of thumb that aggression is key. Now, while at some extent, it does point out, but it needs to be planned out aggression. Keep that in mind. You can't just be mindlessly swinging unless you're Rise. Of course, he has the pass to get away with it. In the end, though, 4-4 definitely has been showing quite a rivalry between these two, and that shows it on Chalet. Now, having a look at Cafe, maybe Border, those are maps that tend to focus or pivot towards one side rather than the other when it comes down to strategy. But Chalet and Clubhouse, the map that every single player knows how to strategize on, what the second route is if one thing doesn't go right. It's the basic of the basics map when it comes down. And this is Chalet. It's Clubhouse either way it goes. In the end, strategy isn't as big as teamwork. And that shows that the chemistry between these two is really eye to eye. It's quite close to say the least. And as we head into round number 9, slowly approaching these double digits, this is where it gets really dangerous. The first one to get that 6-5 or 6-4, whichever one it's going to be, that's when the opportunity to strike is there, mostly because you can finish it within regulation. That's going to be that big lifeline that these players are looking for here.
I 100% back you on that certain statement, because once you go to overtime, there's no looking back. It's a free-for-all. It's very undecided. And one wrong round, one word said to another teammate that isn't to regulation will punish you, and you're going to be going from constant switches from attack to defense, and that could be a very certain decider to see who wins the game. Now, speaking more on the utility side, we are going to see Betchy go right back onto that Monty after not bringing him one round and being punished for it, but we are going to see from the defenders, they are going to be bringing this Fenrir. Ever since he's been nerfed, we haven't seen him as much in Pro League, but he still has 2 FNATs, and he's going to make them work, even though they're vulnerable, even when the shells are not open. Having Fenrir is an absolute beautiful denial, not just to Monty, but to any attacker trying to waltz into sight when the defenders are not paying attention. It's like a secondary chance, a secondary lifeline to be able to allow these defenders to be able to walk in and be able to punish them for walking into these FNAT mines. The first Rotero charge does punish this Warden on the shield. He is now left unprotected as they need to get rid of this barbed wire, and it will be just open season as this barbed wire does get taken out shortly after I say it. Warden is going to be in the corner, and drones are going to slowly find him, but surely. And the Rotero charge forces him out of that corner, and all they need to do now is just isolate these roamers, isolate these defenders, and you will have the best access into sight just to get that plant down.
round 9, the one officially right after the tactical timeout, the first one we've seen up until now, is now officially underway. As this is where the action gets packing, and Batchy comes in right into that Fenrir gadget, but Derna's not there to punish for it. Yet again, is this big metal plate that's here to punish out, and Manny, well, he finds himself one. It's going to be your follow Warden Comrade being down the other second. Good shots onto Manny, who has claimed the kill, and is claiming to claim many more, as that 145 boosted HP could be going in quite aggressive. The Monty being such a terrifying operator all around each corner, aggressing over towards bathroom, yet again putting up this facade. As Shisui, it's going to be a double kill into the round. Yet again, Entropy taking the lead for a second time here. As QuQ, how will you respond? You have one C4 here on the mirror, which could be great, but is it going to be great enough to get that equalization, or maybe the lead back? Does not matter. Taking huge damage, it's going to completely push one back. Shattered window, you're left hopeless. As Chiron looking to make an approach on these upstairs, but this is why that shield is so strong. It pushes you back, it staggers, and it lets you know why you shouldn't. As Larry, he's onto Atlas Case, and he definitely picks him up.
Monty does bring that pressure you need onto the defenders, and having an operator down to 18 HP makes it completely vulnerable. Not having any utility to be able to clear this Monty except for a measly single C4 from your lowest defender is going to be something you're going to have to suffer with. And as I speak, that C4 is out the window. There's 10 seconds left. It's where all the action is going to be. 1 second, beautiful positioning by the Musu. Don't show where you are too soon, but your gun barrel sticks out, and you go down to that pre-fire, and the attackers are up 3-1. There's 20 HP left for this Mira. She lands one. Can she find the second? No, she cannot, as the Flores finds the final pick onto the Mira to give them the final advantage, and we are 1 round off of seeing that match point.
Can Entropy win out their opponent's map and continue on to their own? This is the big question we're having here, Sino. It's 5-4. If we get a 6-4, 7-4, 7-5, you name it, as long as they win it out within or even without regulation, Entropy will be looking at gold. Absolute treasure trove as we head over to finally that double digit. It's going to be round 10. Now coming right in and hitting us quite heavy. It's still the attack, so we can expect everything here from Entropy to be brought out. They're back in the driver's seat, and we just need to get that gas pumping. QuQ, what's the response though? I mean, we're going back to dining and kitchen. We saw how much of a struggle it was once that Monty Betchy made his presence be known, walking into piano just slowly but menacingly making his way through, and that's why you ban out that operator. I get it. You know, I get the Blitz ban. It's definitely there because Blitz is just more of an aggressive push, and with these rooms being really tightly connected but very small, Chalet is a perfect play for the Blitz to make his way through, just flush everyone down. You have the floors for it, so it makes a great combination between the Monty and floors for Entropy. Yet again, you said it earlier, Sino. That's going to be the floor drone coming out onto the wood. He's then forwards back. He can't play off of these comfort positions anymore. And the second he wants to push back to the bathroom, it's all over. His head is already popped like a balloon, and he can't make his decision be clear.
As we were speaking before about those FNATs and on Fenrir, once you walk into them, your defenders know exactly where you are. And a beautiful first pick. We're only 15 seconds in, and Larry, his head is off his body. He's 6 feet under. He's put on a t-shirt as the Malusi does go down. And that is a beautiful first pick for these attackers, as they can finally, maybe, just maybe, seal that lead to make it 6-4. But we have seen both sides actually give up that round differential and the kill differential mid-round. We can see 3v5s being thrown, but we are seeing something that is very, very appreciated, and that is utility being used more often. Doc prioritizing his stims, Flores prioritizing these Rotero charges, but the AFK use of these charges to get rid of the cameras, to get rid of the barbed wire, allows us Vaughn to just walk in like it's open season, and the pressure building up on upstairs piano is going to allow them to just get absolutely disgraced if they lose one body. If Kate is forced off of this little corner nearing the offices in K9, he will pay a certain price, and the defenders will have to adjust to this specifically.
Entropy putting line and line up as they're playing right behind this Monty, ready to take any gunfight, as it's there, it should be there to claim right. We have the verticality. This is yet again taking those extra angles to put as much pressure on the players of QuQ. They're the ones being cooked right now. They lost out the first, but oh man, he has a say about it. As long as he's still standing and that MP5 is in his hand, he'll surely make a play out of it. C4s here could be good for Dernas. You have a Monty completely cornered out, so this could be an easy pick. If he turns a bit too much, Manny's going to be punishing, but it doesn't matter. Those C4s and explosives are nothing when you're having these shots come out from Dirtus. The TCS G12 seems like a nuclear weapon itself. Oh, what a shot out from Trixie. Even when blinded, he still has that sixth sense, the game sense of Rainbow Six Siege coming in slowly to back him up. It's a 3v3 and we have 1 minute undergoing.
Monty just needs to turn around, get into a safe spot, and shoot these FNAT mines to allow his team to walk in. That first barrier is proving fateful, and these defenders are just backing off, except for this Cade sitting down in K9. He might have been punished, or he's already long gone. GoQQ using her first call. But guess what? This Cade is still an option. C4 means absolutely nothing to you when you can just get smacked in the face as Betchy takes him out. And we are looking at 30 more seconds, and the FNATs are repositioned to Solar. They need to get this plant denied, and they need to get denied now before we look at the 2-round differential to go on to match point. All of these attackers are scrambling onto Solar. You have 20 seconds. Let's make it count. Kyron sitting in a beautiful position, almost finding 1 kill, punishing 1. Can he punish the Monty? No, he can't, because guess what? His ability is broken. Monty doesn't go back to finish the kill, but Trixie does for him, and they just need to stick this plant. Monty looking to get aggressive, and it's a beautiful pincer as Trixie finds 3 kills to give those attackers that 6-4 lead.
Oh, Entropy already rubbing their hands together. They know what hour just struck. It is 6-4 time, baby. It is going to be absolutely menacing here for QuQ to bring it back. They need to win 2 rounds in a row. One of them is a loss, a big major mistake, a big miss-up. And you know what the case is. It's going to be map number 1 finish, but we have to get to that. This is going to be it. You have to pick your Ys and, of course, your site carefully here, QuQ, as they're going to be choosing on the upstairs. We haven't seen the downstairs yet, which just shows that no team really likes it, while all other sides haven't played. And the top one is where, of course, good old QuQ feel the most safe at, playing off of these verticals, extending downstairs and into Solarium, maybe even towards Piano, depending on the operator. I'm going to assume no, because they don't have that mirror, but the castle for West is going to be absolutely beautiful. Chiron, yet again, that Boss G, it's a great counter to any gunfight incoming, even if you have 2 HP. As long as you're the first one to deliver that bullet right into the chrome dome of the enemy, maybe even the body, that's going to be enough to do the job. It's great, but that's where Betchy comes in. You know, those bullets, the slug shots, will not be counting at all if it's a metal plate protecting the entirety of the team. And of course, even with the Blitzband, I did mention now that he's a bit of an aggressive little brother of Monty. Monty, he can still run. He still has 2 feet, and he is definitely a record breaker for track sports, because look at how fast he can be. There is no man that can outrun him, punch him back, or stun him, because yet again, it's the shield meta for a reason.
As you were talking about before, this Amira, very crucial operator that she survived the ban phase, but we haven't seen QuQ prioritize them at all. We saw it a little bit from Entropy, but not enough to get them anything. But we're already seeing them push people back up West Main, and we are going to see the Vigil downstairs and rotating back up through West Main. He might be able to get a really long roam, and Larry's just downstairs relaxing in wine cellars. What are they doing all the way down here? All of these attackers and defenders are circling each other just like sharks. Can they find each other? They know where the general presence of them are, but can you punish the first kill? These drones need to be utilized, and they need to be utilized now. Castle's gonna be able to get a free kill, and he almost connects it. He's down to 44 HP. If Nook just walks up, he might be able to get a kill, but guess what? The double team, the tag team from Kyron and the Castle do find the pick.
Nice little dap up between the two. One of the mistakes I've been seeing from QuQ, and not from Entropy, is adaptation. The operator lineups, they've been changing for Entropy time and time again to work against QuQ, and it has been working out, as we do see a bit of a 4v3 situation, which is going to be quite rough, but brought down and equalized shortly after. Shisui really bringing in those kills, being right behind Apple, who are going 10 and 9 both for each absolute murder spree. Now looking to continue this victimization is going to be the Monty in sight pulling out, but that 2 HP is not looking strong. A single gadget, a Pokeball could be enough from Chiron to finish it out. You do have the diffuser, you could be watched, but it all depends on the circumstances. You're still sticking out behind bomb. That's going to be really close to comfort. Oh, how did he not go out? Both of those miss, and this is going to be a great opportunity here to punish. We have 2 players, but where are they biking out Betchy? He's yet again choked out, and all these players are just sandwiching, bullying him. A beautiful headshot from Apple as he claims out the first in the opportunity. This could be a great opening. Gets a second. C4 comes out, finally taking out the Monty, but it's the final one to be standing alone, clueless in the side of Piano. Cade absolutely lost, and the only one winning here is going to be Entropy Gaming, 7-4 on the not their own map, which is quite surprising as they head to it. And wow, what can I say besides that? This match was really intense all the way till the very end.
I mean, it was absolutely crucial, absolutely depressing. to look at in the beginning. But they eventually came out on top, and that's what you need to absolutely punish them. And all you gotta do is just look at how they were playing. We saw most of these predictions, I think, going towards Entropy, but was it, in fact, the reason that they needed to have a nice team talk on what they need to do and how they need to execute it? Bet you just hopping on that Monty instantaneously and deciding, "I know how to play this operator. I know how to bait the plant. Let me get this down." And he did it perfectly indeed, opening up this Flores in the Ash to perfectly just end out the round and secure that first round win when it's not even their map.
It was scary. I loved, yet again, Entropy showing out that Monty, like you mentioned. Maybe the demos, the floor, switching it up just to see what really works between these lineups. Couldn't say the same for QuQ. I mean, they were at a standalone, constant lineup. If they go upstairs, we have the castle, the mute, the whatever. What we just saw, maybe there was a Bajji every now and then, but that's about it. It extends to guns, but not utility. What do we need to counter out the Mountie? Maybe a Legion, maybe some trap operators, anything to take him out. And while though we did see it in the end, it just wasn't well played enough to counter out Entropy, as of course they claim it, put it under the rug. And just like that, before we head over to the second match, which you should definitely stay tuned in, we have to see the results. But before we do, grab yourself something to drink, maybe something to eat, maybe a little bit of a snack, as we'll be heading to a short 5 to 10 minute break. Well, we don't back off of our word. We said 5 to 10 minutes and we'll deliver the best we can as we're off of the break. Now, heading into the second match is going to be Cafe Dostoevsky. It's also going to be Entropy's pick. So, yeah, quite a rough one here for QuQ. But in the meanwhile, we're still here. It's me, Puffo Bob. Same everything, same old me. And of course, joined by the lovely Sino. How are you doing?
I'm great, man. After that first map, it's just an absolute beauty of a display on what that next level of Rainbow Six Siege is. You always have people comparing console to PC, but looking at a league such as this, where you see a team like QuQ, a prestigious team versus like a very prestigious team such as Entropy, where they have thousands in winnings, you need to see the next type of level that you need to be at if you ever want to go into this pro league scene. Entropy punished QuQ for not capitalizing when they were making those mistakes. And that team timeout really allowed them to make that differential even bigger and to take that round.
But as we speak of it, that's the previous match. What about this one? Will Entropy back up their talk and say that that cafe is really their map to go to? Or will we see a reverse sweep, possibly for QuQ to finish it out? Does not matter. We're currently in, and of course, Brava's going to be starting us off with the first ban yet again. Interesting. I'm expecting a bit less Monty action here. I think it's possible. When going down to the first floor, I do believe Monty can be really good on that side of bakery, small bakery push into preparation. On the upstairs, a bit less likely as it would be for other maps. Whatever the case ends up being, we're going to be having that second ban revealed in a couple of moments, and it's going to be the Monty. So lovely seeing him out, which does leave opportunity for multiple operators, such as the Grim, such as the Flores. Yet again, these powerhouses that really make Siege a terrifying game as a defender.
Now you thought you finally got the shield up gone, but guess what? Bet you can just I don't even want to play Monty anymore. I want to switch on to Blitz. Now, if we look at their earlier stages when playing Siege, they lost. Entropy lost 2-1 to QuQ in early October of this year in the Swiss League when they didn't have that Monty. Now, can they make it a repetition of this and take us to a map 3, or can they fall and let all of their defensive barriers fall down while they are trying to get this gone? It's very clear they don't want Mira and they don't want Montez. Those were the operators that were prioritized by Entropy. But hopefully, as Valk is taken off the board as well, we're going to see a team that needs to criticize and be very analytical of how they play and bring in that very extensive intel that is needed to win a map such as Cafe.
Cafe being Valkyrie's, I would say even the best map for her, seeing as how well connected things are and how huge the scale of the map is. It's no question about it. Mira as well. I feel like Mira's just, run of the mill. It's Mira. It's Mira. Come on, lads. It's Black Widow. It's a one-sided fight, and there's a reason it's strong. But we head into the action, or should I say preparation phase. We still have about 40 seconds before we get to the actual action. And taking a look at the lineups on the defense, we again see the Frost. We see the Mai, of course, the Mute Melusi. Anything that we've seen up until now, but an operator that hasn't been brought up so commonly on Chalet, and I assume it to be quite common here, it's going to be Rise on that Goyo. Of course, the time waste on that operator is beautiful, but we have the Twitch, and I think QuQ are ready to bring it out, which is a great way to take out those canisters in the very early part of the round.
Now, there's two very critical ways to be playing Denial. You could be playing all of these operators just to stop the defenders from coming into the building, or you could play it, sorry, the attackers, my mistake, or you could be playing it to deny any of the attackers from trying to get into site for a late round plant. Now, you could see a Frost throw a cheeky little Frost mat on the other side of Ticket, or into CS, where she's and her frost mats are not going to be able to be seen unless it is extensively droned out. And having all of these attackers that complement each other, for instance, the Wamai allows the frost mats and the Malusis not to be burned by things such as frags, might allow us to see a very, very utility-heavy defender-sided first round.
We head into the first, as we always tend to. It's the beginning of the race, but who's going to be the one to be faster on their feet? We're going to have to see. So many questions, but here, Cito, we need answers, and that's exactly what we're looking for. Aggressive play on the hatch is going to be interesting. Now, Rise, he does have Pokeballs. The C4 isn't on deck. The only one is going to be there for Trixie, which I'm intending maybe with some Skylight plays. Maybe chuck those explosives right beneath the feet of these attackers and get yourself early frags. A quick retreat isn't going to be working out well for the side of QuQ as they lose out on the first player. That's going to be the IQ. Great intel taken out, as we only have that Dokkaebi to give some intel over, and right now, QuQ, you're already losing out the first player. This is not a good start. You get quick breaches onto Piano, which is all great and fantastic, but in the meanwhile, we need to make an approach towards site. We need to get closer, push these defenders back into their, or should I say, out of their comfort zones, and of course, along the way, have these skills pick up, and just as I said, that's going to be Larry getting there to shut me up, not only once, but twice as well. Good retake of the position, and of course, having that overall presence be there.
417 is just an absolute powerhouse of a gun, but as I was speaking about cheeky Frostmats on Ticket, guess where he died from? Frostmat does take out this ace in Ticket. He's 20 HP, and he has a whole minute to deal with him, limping around the whole site, leaving blood trails everywhere, looking like a horror movie. Two of these defenders were punished for trying to play aggressive in Cigar, but guess what? The first Ash charge does get caught by this Wamai disc, and the second Wamai disc will be thrown right back to its original position, and it doesn't burn the shield. It goes wide as Trixie punishes one, and Kyron punishes the second. Trixie gets one and gets taken down. Ace playing very close. He knows he needs to play conservative, being 20 HP. His gun packs a punch the AK-12 with an ACOG, but can it deal enough where he can get punished for having 20 HP? No, it can't, as Betchy punishes him. It is now a 2v2 situation with 40 seconds left on the clock.
Final Goyo canister upset. 2v2 now, all down to Wit, and it's definitely going to be none other than Entropy to back it out. Good shots. Nice little coalition between the two teammates as they get it running. And of course, shooting down one means we also have to chain it to the second. The defense winning out round number one is going to be no question on the matter, as we're going to be heading right over to the polar opposite of the upstairs. It's going to be cooking service and cooking, or should I, kitchen cooking and kitchen service, not to mix those up. And of course, this is where we can play two ways. Now we can extend onto the upstairs, have these roamers take huge possession of ground, go all the way to third floor, second floor, expand, leave a lot of time to be wasted for QuQ, or play it off of Bakery, extend yet again to that horizontality, maybe take Christmas, have some shields there, also backed up by utilities such as the Jaeger ADSs. I think this is the direction we're going to be leaning in towards, because we don't necessarily have much of the operator, I say, potential in the first place. Maybe the Malusi could be the only one doing it. Maybe even put the Jaeger on, but they are just not the people to do the job. There's going to be the Bulletproof. We have the rotation over to Bakery, and in the meanwhile, QuQ, as they look to make themselves quite well known, that they're definitely going for the verticality, if nothing else. We have the Buck, the Ram, and also, in the meanwhile, some takeage out of these gadgets, whatever the defenders have to offer.
Now, the defenders haven't brought Castle. Despite surviving the ban phase, that's absolutely critical, but not being able to have the castle does mean you need to extend both ways, not just from Bakery, but now through Whiskey and into Christmas to be able to deny anybody trying to get aggressive into Freezer. And as I say that, Zofia does use her first hard breach charge and her second to open up these two hard breaches, because they know if this shield isn't taken off in the first minute or two of this round, they're going to have hell to pay. And having so much ground covered, maybe not just the second floor, but maybe only the first floor, it might be very annoying and very difficult to hold. But having the whole floor covered, all of these stairs, all of these exits covered, it could prove to help these defenders take their second round in a row, which hopefully is something we want to see when we see a Goyo soft roaming upstairs. It's all about just wasting critical time and punishing the defenders for not properly roam clearing.
Really similar lineup on the defense as if it were upstairs. And of course, alongside it, QuQ, they're taking their precious time. We already have a minute passing by. Drones are still on the top floor, and the players slowly intercepting in the meanwhile. Now we see that there's no roamers. We take a look at the hint, and we realize, whoa, there's going to be not much contention here from Entropy. But QuQ, we need to take it fast yet again. It's going to be a risk to cut around the edges and corners to get yourself some fastened up pushes, which could result in huge punishes. The drone play coming in, it's spotted out. In the meanwhile, getting taken out, that's going to be that extra bit of intel coming in. But how fast are we going to take out Rise? Is he going to claim anyone along the way? These are the questions that we shouldn't be asking, but purely executing off of trying to get these picks. Yet again, completely sandwiched in, and with it walking into the lines of sight of not only one, but the second player onto White. QuQ absolutely dominating. They lose out one. It's going to be Trixie. L2A through has really been a common courtesy when it comes to fragmentation.
Now, seeing this Melusi playing Freezer very, very critical because it denies any of these defenders from getting picked off very easily. But guess what? You have Zofia and absolutely hammering their ways into VIP and through into Freezer, as Zofia took earlier ticks of damage to the Volcan canister, has now taken a couple of bullets from the Frost. But as long as Trixie can keep this place held down, you can defend and you can hold these attackers at bay for as long as possible, which is what is needed right now as you are down a singular body. And as I say that, it's going to 3, almost 3v3, and now 4v2 as the Ram is picking up. And we can't say the same as he is slowly but surely taken down. Melusi forced to take 2 angles or more to walk in. Watch behind her as Zofia almost punished, but not punished fast enough, allowing the other defender, Jaeger Afla, to go down, and Sentry just walks in and walks down the person, and Melusi is now just picking off the fight, and nothing else you can do in that situation.
QuQ, when they got those early picks, they were handed the hammer and the nail. All we were waiting was for the final nail in the coffin to strike, and there it was. The second round going over to QuQ, as it's going to be their first acclaim, opening up the curtains into this yet again equalization, a similar fashion to how we saw out Chalet. And now we head back to Fireplace and Reading. We go a side up, because if the downstairs didn't work, it surely won for a second time. Entropy, they don't really take second chances. We've seen that every time, and now we see it again. Of course, I'm just interested to see how this is going to turn out. They either win it, they return back upstairs, or they lose it and return back upstairs. Either way, so now Entropy, although not much is on the line just as yet, this first half is that blueprint for the entire match. If you get a 3-3, if you go up 4-2, 5-1, whatever the case is, in the second half is when the deciders are really made thorough. Now, taking a look at the lineup yet again, we always tend to take them when we see a first side being played, and a real tradition here for Entropy has been the Melusi and the Mute, not only through Chalet, but also onto Cafe. Actually, on that castle is going to be interesting, seeing as castles tend to be quite good, especially on maps like Bank, like Cafe, necessarily, mostly because of window play. You want to take it upstairs, you're going to have these windows breaking out very easily and quickly. That's going to be a lot of trouble. Yet again, it's extra angles for the attackers to play off of. Afla, I'm not sure you want to take those risks. It's a gamble, and most of the times, casinos don't take it fair play.
Now, you really don't want to defend upstairs unless you have a castle and a Mira, but having a castle is enough. And guess what? Sometimes you do lose out on the Mira when she doesn't survive the ban phase. Some teams do like to digress and bring Goyo instead, but we're not seeing that in this situation. We're going to see Mute and Castle fully extended throughout Cigar. They're going to have footholds all across that red hatch drop. Now, that could be something that works in their favor or against if they don't hold it properly and they have a soft breacher on the other team, such as that Ash, or such as those secondary shotguns coming from Sentry and Ram. Let's put that on hold for a second as we talk about Ram, and he lands a headshot onto Afla, going down with those goo mines in the pocket. It's absolutely crucial. Why are we getting so aggressive when it is just a stalemate 1-1? What do you want to do? What do you want to achieve? Because these attackers are showing us what they want to, and it's to take control of that third floor and to take control of it fast. Ash in ticket already.
Well, we definitely want to push into Freezer. Yet again, the majority of these players working on the outskirts of the top side, basically around Piano, maybe focusing towards White, and of course on the side of QuQ, while being very Barry is bound by it, and that's what Larry needs to do. He needs to take these initiations, put those bullets in the heads of these players, and that's what we get to. It's a second kill here for QuQ, as as the name indicates, they slowly start cooking out Entropy, but is this going to be a 5-star meal? Do we get a flawless? It's still possible. 5v3 on the score, and we need some change here, Entropy. You're playing close quarters and losing players in the midst of all the chaos, but while we're speaking of it, there it is. It's a 1-for-1 trade. You're still at a huge deficit, and we need a movement here from Rise. You're still upstairs. This could be a huge plank opportunity, but does he put it into play? That's the big if and but situation. Going over to the cocktail, retaking out possible verticality, also dropping out the diffuser. He can hold it down as if it were a hostage, as the remaining 2 players are downstairs, and that's all of them. They take out the 1 player who's defending side on his alone, completely left-handed. It's going to be this vertical mute. He pulls out the shotgun. He's close to white. Can he connect it? Yes, he can. It's a down onto 1, looking to finalize out more. Frag grenade becoming a bit too uncomfortably close. 30 seconds here for QuQ. You need to make a move. One coming out from above. It's going to be Larry, but it's not expected. He comes out swinging, and that's a retake of the advantage on the round count right over to QuQ.
What an amazing shot by this Ash just to end off this round completely. Now, we speak of people trying to bring this to the next level. We speak of teams trying to just take this game and take it home. But it's just looking like Entropy just likes to struggle on defense and bring it back completely. I'm not saying this is going to be the case for this game, but it sure has been the case for the last map in all of the games in the past. They struggle on defense, and after that one time or after that one round where it all clicks together, they bring that comeback. But something we can say about QuQ is they are certainly cooking, as you put it. They want to bring that comeback, and they do not want to lose just at map 2. Seeing this go to map 3 would be huge for QuQ, as deciding this would be an absolute beauty of a series, but Entropy does have to lock in this situation. They want to end it as fast as possible, and they're bringing back that Fenrir, they're bringing back that Frost. We're looking at a couple of defender rosters that are a little bit from Chalet and a little bit from Cafe mixed together. Now, the only thing that could be the problem here is you do not have a Jaeger. Wamai, yes, is very good, but in theory, he regenerates every 30 seconds. You do not have the power of the ADSs from Jaeger. Although he's taken numerous nerfs, it's still not good enough to be bringing out Wamai to deny this fast. If the defenders locate these discs, it will be troublesome for all of these defenders.
It all comes down with the Jaeger. If you're holding out piano, absolutely excellent. A lot better than the Wamai. If you want to take a bit more of a spread approach, we can put this there, put a disc left, right, and center, and it's going to be okay. Yet again, though, you're taking that risk factor. If the Wamai dies, there is absolutely no gadget, as if the Jaeger, if he's gone, ADSs are still to co-work with the team. Now, and we're speaking about this retake for QuQ here. It's 2-1, but we saw that on Chalet. At first, it was 3-1, even 4-2, I believe, in the first half. Maybe 3-3, whatever the case ends up being. The second we got to that 4-4, and that tactical timeout was called out by Entropy, the tides returned, and the table was absolutely flipped on its head. Now, we're looking for a similar situation. Yet again, Entropy, get back in the driver's seat, put that gear into the second, and start driving fast. As right now, QuQ, they're really catching up, not even catching up. They're already past beyond your limits. Actually coming in aggressive. This is what we need. Drones coming out, and we have some information that there could be a player downstairs right below you. But we, instead of backing off, take the gunfight. A bit of a nice little feint for the Y player. But what is happening here, Afla? You're walking in blind and just in front of people's guns.
I don't even want to begin to understand on what that Melusi was looking at. She was hoping, she was giving thoughts and prayers, and was caught lacking, as you like to say. She was punished by the hands of Larry's R4C, but now these attackers are completely just pummeling these attackers when it's coming to Cigar. You're going to have this mute sitting close in bathroom, but Frost eventually does fall to the freezer and is forced off back to pallets. This is what I was speaking about. If you do not have these ADSs, you will be punished, as that little box of freezer is just no more. It's just a bunch of ruins. Ace learning from his mistakes and taking off that frost mat. Mute completely committing to that freezer bit and will be sitting in your bathroom to deny anybody trying to walk through, but not having freezer is going to leave a big chunk missing from your defense. And we might see QuQ try to begin and absolutely increase their goddamn round differential, because they need it. That's what they need. Zoku's is going to crawl up through default. And Ash tries to shoot the balloons. She gets punished by the Frost. Can she find the second? Nobody else trying to push through Ticket. Manny taking one. Betchy taking the second. And the sentry just hops in through the site. And the ace slowly goes down. It's absolute chaos in sight, as it's just guns ablaze. And Barry finds a double kill. Both defenders or both factories, sorry, now are just hold up back in ASET as they just want to get the plant down. Lamai denying one. Pre-fire almost connecting as the attacker is going to rotate. Sentry trying to isolate the one and goes down to a frost mat. The round is over and is now 2-all.
Absolutely insane. How did it come down to Entropy having a comeback? I still have so many questions, but in the end, there's no answer. It's honestly just chaos. QuQ, you had the situation underway. All you needed to do was play a bit closer. You know that the only peak that can happen here that is dangerous is all the way from Cigar's shop, but what ends up happening is there's no one looking at it. Yes, we have to cover a bit of white. Maybe have a drone there. There's possibly some information, some extra line you can take and resort out with a success. But in the end, it's an equalization second time in a row. It's back to back to back to back. We take 4 rounds and it's split between the two teams. We return to this first floor as it's Librarian Fireboys, who we saw quite an interesting start. Yet again, it was QuQ absolutely cooking, as the name indicates. They were putting that seasoning on. They were making us a delicious meal. But Entropy, they were taking the most heat of it. In the end, it was a diffuser down on the floor upstairs, Mute taking hostage of it and completely isolating out the players. But that didn't work out. Leaving it down to one player is not ideal. It's nothing you want to pivot towards, especially not every single round. A 1v2 there ended up happening against QuQ. They lost out that second round. And Entropy, we've seen something similar. Yet again, it was a 3-1, and then it was 3-3-7. They picked up the ball, they started rolling the snowball, and all we're waiting is for this avalanche of Entropy to just roll down onto QuQ.
We saw it last round. They punished them, and they punished them fast. They just need to hold on to this advantage if they want to force this to map 3. But it doesn't look like they want to do that. We're looking at 2 more rounds, including this one, before we look at that attacker-defender switch. But we need to see one team try to even out the reins instead of looking at a 3-3 split in between teams, as we saw last map. We need to see the team that wants to take it and wants to take it more. Because at the end of the day, this game is all about passion, no matter how good your aim is. Yes, you can have good aim, but if your whole team is passionate and committed to just executing straight setups, then you could, by chance, just win it. And having a setup that's kind of scattered upstairs, they do not have the double door castled off, and we're going to look at Ash trying to get a little aggressive, but mistiming for Vault, or maybe that was just by mistake as the shield gets pinged and the Doc takes damage from that on top white.
Playing off of Pillar Door. Interesting setup here by Dernis, as that again is going to be that multi-presence we're looking to claim. Information still incoming, but QuQ, we need to make a move. This always tends to be the case. They have a late move on, and I believe there's going to be a bit of a bug happening right now, where every time we switch to any player, it's going to be less information, but just as I speak of it, Super taking out Rise, and in the meanwhile, we also have a nice little trade between the two. Good way to get into a 4v4 situation as if nothing ever happened. The dog getting up, Afla almost securing himself a second life, a second chance, like if he were the Frankenstein monster. 3v2 here, QuQ, or short for QuQ here, have a bullet and it has Entropy's name on it. Can they shoot it right between the eyes? They definitely can. It's Chiron, SMG-12 in hand, putting those bullets to work, just like the FAMAS, which is an infamous gun. Doesn't have the attachments, but definitely the will to finish out a confirmed draw in the first half for QuQ.
Beautiful shots by both teams, but guess what? QuQ is here to cook. It's very simple. It's very indicated, and all they want to do is win. And we're seeing it now. They're the team that is most passionate. They cleared upstairs. They got rid of that vert, and they even pinched downstairs in that 90 hall before they even got rid of all the vert. The Doc almost had that second chance. Afla almost had that chance to get up, but couldn't run away fast enough before the Flores could switch to his secondary. And now we are looking at the last round before we do these switches. Now, if Entropy can manage to squeeze together a win, which they were trying to do at least the last time they defended down here, we would be looking at the same terms as last map, where it was looking at a 3-3 split. Now, if they do lose it, we're going to look at a 4-2 split, which is a completely different game because that gives them the means to an end, which means they either have to have the greatest timeout of all time, where you have Rocky Balboa giving you your speed, or you're going to have troubles as Entropy is going to continue to get punished as they keep going down on round deficits.
Speaking of Rocky Balboa, we're looking for those 1-2s here from Entropy. They found the one. Now that we're just looking for that nice right cross, maybe a jab, maybe a liver shot, whatever it is, we need this draw just like earlier. Maybe pick it up in the second half like we always think of. It's a simple formula, it's just not as simple to execute, as that's what's been troubling these teams so much. QuQ It's been the execute that's been the roughest out of all these losing rounds. They get a good one. They get a head starter. We see those openings. We see that continuation. Take ground, take possession. But when it comes to the execute, they completely stagger. It's as if everything leading up to that point was meaning to nothing, leading up to absolute failure. Now, QuQ, we still have one bound. Can we make it a 4-2 half and actually change how it's been going up until now? A rush has to happen. I mean, we see the blitz. He's known for that, and he's ready to be fast on his feet.
Nothing to continue this blitz or nothing to break his path. There's no frost mats even behind the little bakery stand. Blitz is allowed to just rush in if he has attackers to watch him. But the only problem with this, the head holes by this Doc and Prep, you need so many attackers. You need so much commitment to be able to force these players off. Having these rotates, having these defenders is just an absolute beauty of a hole to show what team wants to hold it better. But if one defender goes down here, I cannot emphasize how screwed the defenders will be in general. We're not seeing many roamers. We're seeing all of them on the same floor, and we're seeing Ash get aggressive very fast. As she holds off the cross, anybody trying to go from quick into small big is going to be denied. You can say the same about the small big. As Blitz tries to walk in, trying to shoot the Malusi, and he gets punished for that. Rise punishes the Buck, and Ash gets punished, and the Flores gets punished. It's an amazing quad kill by the team, a beautiful team effort to get it down to a 1v5. Can we see the first flawless of the series?
Oh, it's all gone wrong. Entropy, how are you doing this? It's like a magic trick, but we don't know the clues of how it's happening. Rise, it's going to be the flawless, you call it, Tino. And with it, we have a beautiful round coming through and even more majestic shots. It's 3 for 3 yet again. Repetition of map number 1 continues on to a completely different standalone map, which is Cafe and Chalet. Those have nothing in common. One is huge and very uncommon, while the other is not as huge, but quite common. How did this tend to happen? What yet again, it's a yin-yang symmetry between these two teams, and whoever picks it up, whoever gets that 6-5, 6-4, 6-3, you name it, into the second half will be the one to have such an iron gauntlet over the other team, such a reigning supreme title, as they were just looking to finish it within regulation. Now, before we get into it, you know, my eyes were set on both of these lineups as I wanted to talk about the defense, but Benji's bringing out the fuse. Now, that's an operator you almost never see, and I think it's going to be 6-pick. Hopefully, I don't think how would you even use the fuse here besides window? Oh, it's going to be windows. Oh, this is going to be fancy. No.
He might even try to use the shields. We can't see his loadout confirmed yet. This might be hectic, but I mean, he has a record. He has a set rep with these shields, so hopefully he makes it look good. But is he going to use it? The second of drama. No, he's going to stay on the LMG. What?
Wow, that is something. Oh my god. This is a madman.
I mean, maybe he can make it work. Yes, 4 of those clusters for those windows, but I mean, having this LMG in the pocket and being a 1-speed does not work in your favor. One run out, and you are cooked, pun intended. Hopefully, you don't get punished for this, but upstairs is a hole that is to be needed. But no timeout was called. Very surprising, because both teams, they had to have agreed on this before we started. There is no way both teams went to 3-3 in both maps. Now, they need to lock in, or maybe they just need to get out of cahoots with each other and just win the damn game.
You said it. Can we go all the way to the Big 15? Can we have a third map? We need to see it all in action. Round 7 underway. It's the second half, an introduction to it with a new operator we haven't seen almost ever. I feel like Fuse is such an underrated operator, but there's just no situations for him to be used viable. That Fuse, the cluster charge is ready to initiate, taking out as many gadgets because there's a lot to offer. It's going to be a great counter to QuQ. Oh, the cluster charges are not. It takes out the Malusis, it takes out the Frost, the Legion, the Koyos, which is going to be huge. Huge profit of the gadget itself and claiming on connecting, but at the same time is the explosiveness. You do not want to be caught standing next to a Fuse Buck. No QB calls coming out. That's going to be the Goyo lit up and looking to make a fast approach.
We saw Fuse trying to put down that cluster charge on the window before the defenders just said screw it in general and just break down the window. That's the problem with using him on a 3rd floor map. All you have to do is use him for vert and vert only. You cannot use him where the glass is already pre-broken. But Doc is fighting for his life here, unaffected by his own teammates' EMPs, but he's going to go down here unless he can run away, and run away he does indeed. Slimming himself back up. Finally, somebody does something. Malusi goes down to 11 HP, but the Legion takes off this Fuse as he's been an empty, useless pick, and Malusi gets taken right back up to 144. These two operators with the MP5s just want to deny this overall take of Cigar, and one will eventually give it up. This Frost add-on ticket has been an absolute game changer, but has been recognized. But Entropy finding their evening out pick, and all they have to do now is just relax and capitalize on these pushes. They have 38 seconds, and they have so much utility to deal with. If these cluster charges just connected once, they would have had an opening statement. They would have had that chance to get in the building, but guess what? No frags, no bueno, as this Legion's getting pushed off, but so much utils on those stairs. There's no way you can get off of them alive. Legion does live to see another day.
Yes, he does, but in the meanwhile, will Ash be doing the same? Afla 28 not looking comfortable. So much opportunities, but so little time, and even less players for Entropy as they're brought down to 2. Peeking out with the head isn't the best, but the QuQ, you need to watch your left. The diffuser is not officially inside. The Melusi is, and it's a triple for Afla. The last player standing out in showers, looking to make a quick jump rotation. The vault is through. The last player is defusing, but oh, you don't know it where. It's confirmed it's through. The shotgun is out, and oh, it blasts out the Hibana. Just a last-second ditch effort out from Dermis as he makes it well worth. The production side even giving him his own special cutscene as we win out round number 7. It's going to be QQ's claim or QuQ. Yet I keep on going back to QQ. In the end, though, they flip the patty and get themselves a beautiful round, just like Entropy did to them previously.
I think there's no other words for that except for, oh my days. They finally found that round break before they can switch on back to their defense, which we see Kyron back on his SMG, critical 12. But something we saw Afla, the Ash, just absolutely pummel the attackers. He almost gave them, Entropy almost had that false belief. They almost had it. They thought they had it. It was a 2v1 scenario, but the Ash just got caught off guard by those holes in that long bar and eventually got punished. We're going to see Basement, or AKA Bakery, as the first hold. I mean, kitchen and service as their hold. It might be something that needs to be held a little bit of a different way, but we are going to see a very identical lineup as into terms of what the secondary utility is. Echo is the replacement for Frost, although he doesn't bring the denial and the confirmed kills. He brings denial of plant, denial of entry, and he brings that shield that is so critical. Goyo does look to be the same, and Vigil is a first pick for QuQ, something we didn't see from Entropy at all.
No, we didn't. And I believe capitalizing this blitz due to the lack of trap operators we didn't see earlier, or actually we saw earlier for the side of Entropy. Now, Entropy spot out that QuQ don't have that extra asset of the Legion, the Frost, you name it. They only have the Goyo and the Echo to be a bit of a nuisance. Now, they won't be taking it horizontal. They won't be pushing up to no Bakery. No. They're going to be going by the book. Verticality is key, and we want to create those extra angles. As in the meanwhile, QuQ, they don't have much to offer against it. We have a C4 on Larry, which is going to be great. Some impacts coming out from Chiron to make himself be known. But do you know about the Blitz Shield right behind you? Whips out the pistol, doesn't claim the head. The Fenrir, in the meanwhile, is going to be walking right in front of the death of one, and himself, the Goyo, to be taken out. A 3v5 brought on to Larry. It's a triple kill for Entropy out of nowhere. It's all crumbling down for QuQ, or should I say QuQ, as they themselves are being flipped over like a patty. The spatula is in play, and their name is Entropy Gaming, as they're looking to 4-4 it out. This could be a possible flawless for the second time around.
Back-to-back flawlesses almost goes down, but guess what? The Echo is here to deny that. But oh my days, what can you do about it? What a shot onto the blitz. But guess what? Afla takes this false belief right away. But oh my god, this is what I mean. Entropy decides to flip the script. Screw playing defense. Screw being good at the defense. They want to win, and they want to win on attack on their own terms. 3 bodies within a minute of the round is absolute mayhem for these defenders. They either need to call a timeout or they need to talk about not roaming as heavy because they've been punished on it, because this blitz is absolutely beautiful. I think the term that is used now is glazing. I'm going to glaze this blitz. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to clear, and he knows how to get that first step, that step in the door that will win the attackers that round.
Yes, they will. As much as I don't like to say it, nor do I want to curse any specific team here, this is Chalet all over again. It went from some advantage for QuQ down to this 3-3 first half. Then it was QuQ yet again to get that 4-3 and then 4-4. It's a mirror match from both of these teams, as the result is the same. Entropy adapting to the players and the lineups that QuQ have to offer with their own counter. Yet again, the Blitz, due to there being a lack of operators on the trap side, and at the same time having that much of roamers, the Blitz is great to counter it. And of course, when you push down these roamers right into the lines of sight of that AK-12, it's a luxurious meal for Entropy to take. And while though they almost got that flawless, a 3v1 situation in the very end to finish it out is still just as good. Now, QuQ, we rock a similar spot. We go a similar site, not similar, the same to be exact. But is the situation going to repeat for one more time?
I think the attacks they bring Entropy is just sublime, but something they can also be complimented for is their ability to be able to adapt to the pushes. They've managed to push this Vigil back into the site two times now, I'm mistaken, but he's managed not to get taken off the board this time, luckily, but 4 Jackal tracks being used and have on locks. He's not Caviera. He can't evade these. He can evade any electrical gadget, but just not his own footsteps, as the first FNAT affects the Blitz and deals some damage, but it does get broken eventually, and the Blitz takes minimal damage. Only around 40 HP has been taken off the board. It's critical. And this banner is going to be beautiful when it's coming down to the roam. Echo drones upstairs as well. They're just trying to deny, in general, everybody trying to play upstairs. Jackal blinded, going down to the FNAT. A TK! We see the Goyo go down and the Fenrir right down with him. What a shot!
What's happening? Yet again, QuQ, what's happening? It's a 3v5. Open Larry, he's dangerous, but not enough for Rise. He makes himself a here's a Johnny situation, opening up a hole, facing right through it, and with all threat being against QuQ here, they are cooked. It's all gone wrong yet again for a second time. This is going to be that 5-4. If something doesn't change, we need a miracle. Now, while the Echo is coming out, I believe it just won't be enough to make yourself be comfortable. On 1v5 for a second time, left on to Chiron, who is going to be on 13 HP, facing off against Freezer. He's playing off of windows yet again, trying to deny how that follows, but is it going to be inevitable? Certainly when you have Becky. Barachi just with that pistol, swinging out through the corner, secondary in hand, finding the head, and with it, Entropy 5-4. Sino, it's it's the exact same.
Same exact, man. There's just nothing you can say about that. I mean, there is something that was new. We saw a TK through a wall. How do you manage, instead of hitting your enemy that's right in front of you, you shoot behind him, you curve that bullet, and it goes through the wall and kills your own teammate? Now, that's something that I haven't seen in a while, but TKs are a part of the game, but something that's not a part of the game is choking 2 back-to-back leads. You need to capitalize when you're up, especially against a team like Entropy. If you let them adapt, if you let them get comfortable, you are just cooked. You need to start bringing different attacks. You need to start switching it up in between, because I know there is specific sets. I know there's specific setups, but against a team that knows how to adapt, the best thing, your best friend in that situation is change, something they cannot adapt to.
I'm shocked. When it turned out to be the exact same, my jaw was dropped. Now, Entropy, let's take a look at it from your positive side. Fate is twisted towards you. QuQ are ready to pick up the pen and start writing their own story, but they need to get to it. It's always that get to it scenario that we're stuck at. Just like the execution that lacked on attack, and of course the execution that doesn't lack for Entropy, because they don't even need the execution. They get such early picks, they get such strong oppositions that they don't need to worry a single bit. Now, taking a look at this position, it's going to be quite questionable. Nice little smiley here from another than Manny. He knows what's happening. He's planning out something quite mischievous, some would say. But in the meanwhile, Entropy, are they going to fall for it? And of course, will they claim out this 6-4? It's all down to the wire, because when it's match point, the pressure is at a peak.
Camping in that cigar corner is very crucial. People like to call it the B word corner, as I like to say. But you do have so many drones that are active. But guess what? A drone doesn't matter. A flare is going to take your head off your body and punishes this Ash for just hopping in without droning properly. And now the Capitao is scared to hop in, as finally QuQ have the advantage because there's no shot. You decided to take off the only thing that was working for you, which was the blitz, but the Rotero charge does a little bit of good news as it's about to burn a Malusi, but gets strictly taken out. The shield does get taken out, which is very, very good, but let's take a look at their drones. Their drone economy was perfect. They had one drone shot in the last minute, and now it's gone to all 5 being shot. You need drones in a situation for a site like this. All of the defenders are now just relaxed. We have one roamer being the warden. He has a C4 in hand. The free fire should have connected with the head, but the dock goes down with all 3 stims, and Larry shortly follows by Trixie.
You were wishing there was a second revive here through, as of course Entropy, they somehow get it back. Those shots were whiffed, and that's a huge blunder here. As QuQ, they can't come back from it. There is no lifeline if you lose this out. It's going to be constant up to the tilt and top scenarios, because when you're against match point, it's all a lifeline. Each round could be the possible last, and that threat being made, keeping it in mind, the Warden coming out from behind, Chiron claiming one of his own. That's going to be the MPA 5 onto the kill feed, finding out Rise, 8 HP onto Trixie. Not healthy, as the Doc isn't going to be there to patch him up. Some damage onto the Warden is expected, but not taken out. Yet again, not finalizing on that dot and not connecting them. A good shot out from Benji. He puts his HP low, but that's that gun that matters at the very end. Frost completely shut down in cocktail, looking for any pre-fire, but it's the only one that's being pre-fired in the process. A good shot onto one, downing the other. It's a 1v1 situation. Amazing flank off to the Warden. The SMG-12 is great, so is the MPX. The headshot machine. The Frostmat yet again being as deadly as ever. Coming around, shooting out. Oh, the wall bangs are going to be connecting. It's down to the last 10 seconds. The C4, it's still not in there. Duris, you need to put these bullets right into your enemy. 7 seconds ticking us down. Coming out from the right, he's waiting for an opportunity, and he knows it strikes. Vaults out onto the bar, but who's going to be the one claiming the kill? Shots are there, and it's going to be Dermis with a triple kill. 1v3 situation. Finally breaking the curse. 5-5, another equalization, and QuQ there able to have it be maybe going in their direction for just once.
What a unique way to deny the plant. I mean, he let that defuser get put down, but I mean, I've never seen anybody, whether ranked, casting, pro league, I've never seen anybody actually hop onto the bar, hit him with the spot next to you, kill that floor as well, falling down. And maybe that's that uniqueness that you need to bring. It's what I meant by you need to bring change in. I mean, the Warden heard me through his telepathic senses and managed to finish off the diffuser to give them that 5-all stalemate. Now, I need to express the absolute importance, the significance of bringing this timeout in right now, because if you like to go down in rounds, you need to either bring it to overtime or you need to push for that map 3, and that's all QuQ is trying to do. Entropy just needs to keep doing what they're doing because their attacks are just sublime. They're perfect. There's nothing you can complain about except for the fact when they don't bring a shield, but all we need to see is Entropy put that nail in the coffin, or we see QuQ take that nail out and throw it in the garbage as they're trying to push for that map 3.
So close. So very close. Every single one listening right now, every Rainbow Six Siege, QuQ, or Entropy enjoyer, enthusiast, having a listen to the stream, this could be ended with one single round. With 2 to be exact, 2 in a row. If someone, anyone, manages to claim 2 rounds in a row, the outcome could be completely different. Now, drone going down right below Trixie is going to be the first questionable decision, as it doesn't give me much hopes that Entropy are going to be the ones to have it be out in regulation, but I do hope that there is going to be overtime. I think overtime is where this action is going to be packed, as we saw some sort of curse being broken, and I think with it, we can also expect the action to go all the way back to the Bose Max OT. Shisui already on that blitz. That's going to be a quick push. Yet again, it's not site directly, but this verticality that you need to establish.
You couldn't have said it better. This is just absolutely questionable. Entropy just does the most questionable things, then manages to pull the most amazing attack out of their asses just later in the round. The first stim does get used. Doc has learned from his mistakes from going down with 3 stims to now using it once every 30 seconds-ish. He's went down with 1 stim the last 2 rounds, and the Ace is going to start using his Selma charges. The Flores will start using his Roteros to burn off those Goyos, and now we're going to have one defender prioritizes at top white, and one player, one singular Azami is defending with her life downstairs. throwing that Keepa barrier down too soon that gets caught off guard by that Selma and forced back to drop. There's nothing you can do in that situation except for pray to God and hope for the best, as you have one player now sitting top white. Azami switches places with the Doc, and now we have situations where you need to hold, you need to play your time, and C4 almost blows up the Flores, but he only takes a significant low amount of damage. He only takes max 10 HP off, and the impacts are being used. They do not want them playing Vert. Buck, the only soft breacher right now, and you're going to have Gridlock getting her track stinger set. But most of these defenders are off site. Can they punish them? Can they find that one pick that Entropy get punished by before it all crumbles, before it all goes down? Because we're looking at 56 seconds before this all goes down.
The plot thickens here, as you said it. It's going to be a huge burst of aggression from both of these teams. It's left down to such a short time span before when it all just goes absolutely ham. This is what we're seeing. The wall banks coming out, but it's not those connecting. It's Betchy's bullets right onto one. A great counter over to the Blitz. That's what we love seeing in the Warden. The C4 isn't there to counter-attack, but in the meanwhile, we have sight. The Ace is in it, going for a plant. Apple in the meanwhile covering right from behind. The down teammate gets picked up. It's going to be a nice pat on the back. Impact coming out. It's a 3v4 situation, brought down to a 1v4. If we conclude down, that one is downed, and it's the pistol to make the final one through. Entropy 6 and 5, looking to finish it out in the exact same fashion here in regulation. Be it 7-4, be it 7-5, it makes no difference for them. They were looking for a clean 2-0 sweep in this best of 3, but can QuQ here absolutely deny it? So, you know, it's all left down possibly to this one round.
I don't even know what to say. I'm speechless at this point. It's just so back and forth. The only difference between this game and the last is it was 6-4, and now it is 6-5, giving QuQ that small sliver of opportunity. That, not even foot. We're talking about a singular toe in the door, because if they lose this round, they're getting sent home. All they need to do is bring this round to overtime, take this map, and we can see them push. But the only question I have for you, Bob, what do you see happening in this round or the next?
Oh, that's... Oh, you can't put me up with such a question. We've seen how close it was. I feel like Entropy, yet again, they're going to take the advantage of the 6-pick. In the meanwhile, we already see the Blitz. There is the Legion, which is a great counter. And at the same time, they don't have that Azami, so every single piece of, like, I'd say comfort zones, those corners, nice little nook and crannies for QuQ here to sneak into are going to be completely flushed out by Trixie. The verticality is going to be in play, although a switch here. QuQ, we've always seen them on this horizontal level. Yes, they've extended, but not too majorly. Maybe some flanks, left, right, and center. Crayon, Chiron, here on this Bosch G, the SMG-12. It is absolutely iced out, okay? I think this is what we need to see. And yet again, that proactivity from the side of QuQ. But Entropy, it doesn't matter to them. They take out the one we were speaking so highly of. It's the Vigil off the board. And how did Rise even get there in the first place?
I mean, he's just went from hero to zero at this point. Last game, he was absolutely dominating. He was using that SMG-12 as his Grim Reaper, as his scythe, but he's gone down to 6 and 11 now. What can you do in this situation? Pixel from hell from this Warden. He's being live pinged, but guess what? This Legion's here to punish him. 2 headshots to the back of the dome. Pop and pop takes him off the board. It is now 4-all. This Blitz is just so consistent. He might not be going positive, but guess what? He's applying that pressure that you need, and there's no defender present in Shaiko or in Cigar to pop that Goyo to stop this Blitz from just walking in. Just a measly set of barbed wire that the Blitz takes out with ease and takes full control of Ticket now. 1 set of barbed wire, 1 set of bulletproof camera, and 1 objective in mind: stop Entropy from getting in the building. And that first defense plan has failed. The second one, hold upstairs as hard as you can, and we're going to see the Blitz push off as the calm that there is a flank watch there. But guess what? Apple punishes 1 flank. Blitz almost going down. Why wouldn't he just pop the Goyo? It's absolute mayhem here. Doc getting the step onto himself. Can he find his fellow Goyo? No, he can't. That shot lands through the wall of Cigar, and it takes Larry out. Is it the end? Or is this the beginning of false belief? He just drops out Skylight. Headshot connects. It's a 1v. Ladies and gentlemen, is this game over? 1v3. I don't like to say the word impossible, but guess what? It's not looking too possible right now, ladies and gentlemen. They're circling like sharks. Ace, knowing he needs to aim in, and the Warden gets punished. It's over. It's over.
Let's go! Entropy! They finish it out! In the end, QuQ! It was so close, but they had a great moment. I feel like they were so close to taking it. Okay, we saw a nice call into the vigil. Rise, he took it, but in the end, he had those bullets delivered right back to where he shot them from. In the end, though, QuQ, they have to bite the bullet. 7-5 tradition. We ended up into the second map, and now this was really close. This was such a great matchup. Both of these teams had such good chemistry between each other. Not only that, but in the end, although it was a bit of a lightning strike twice situation, we saw the first one on Chalet, get to that 3-3-4-4, and then Entropy get back in the driver's seat, shift off to the second, and then just drive off. That was similar to Cafe, but yet again, how close these rounds were to some situation. Most of these did end up with a 1vx in the favor of Entropy, but the issue is here that they were a lot more keen on adapting and overcoming, as of course it was a bit more stale and allowing that type of interpretation from Entropy, all allowed out by QuQ. They still played it fantastically. I love their playstyle. I love how they really stick to the script and go by the book. But in the end, this is a strategical FPS for a reason. You need to switch it up at times. And in the end, I mean, it was a great match. This was really close. And, we don't like seeing one sided matches, although map 3 would have been really great for me personally.
I think I decided I would have taken this game to the next level, but it was just surely ended by Entropy. You saw them get absolutely just punished. You saw QuQ getting punished at every stage. Every little mistake they made, it was punishment. There was no doubt about it. There was no sliver of chance as they just got rapidly punished after punishment after punishment. Not on Chalet. They went up rounds, and guess what? It all came falling down as they just lost 2 maps in a row. What can you say about that except for wow and GG's to Entropy, because it's just an absolute display of that next level competitiveness that you need to be bringing to this R6 scene.
And with it, I think that's going to be about as much as we can do to finish it out. I am going to be asking production if there is any extra brackets we would want to show as of current standings. Yeah, there it is. There it is. We see it yet again. We move down for QuQ, and Entropy are going to be facing forward into the following bracket of this Swift stage. It's still stage number 2, so there's a lot to keep ahead of. Yet again, keep your eye on any Twitter announcement for ESA's following matches. There's going to be one tomorrow. There's going to be on Thursday. It's always the same time. You see it, 27th November, which is tomorrow at 19:30 CET. Just like we always do, it's going to be MG Wit facing off against Molotov Gang, which is another fantastic match you have to keep your eye out for. But of course, before we get to it, we're going to sadly, from the deep part of our hearts, leave you off to another blank time before the following ESA match. Be sure to be there tomorrow. At the same time, though, it has been me, Pofobop. Thank you all the viewers, enjoyers, enthusiasts, and players for making this possible. Same goes to the production and everyone working in the background, Void, and of course, Oho being an absolute legend duo, and of course none other. Credit given where it's due, because for the first duo cast that we've had, this was really good. And do you have any personal closing thoughts?
All I can say is it's been my pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for being so accepting. It's always a pleasure to be here. Tomorrow's game, I will also be there for the cast. We're going to see MG Wit. Those Germans, they just lost recently in another league. Hopefully, they can bring it back in the ESA and show us why they're here to play. And with nothing more to say, all I can tell you is subscribe, follow, and tune in tomorrow at 19:30 CET. And have a great night, ladies and gentlemen.